Okay, all right. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get started at 6:30. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Scholey,
Here.
Moyer, Knack, Whitehouse,
Here.
McCaffrey,
Here.
Carmen,
Here.
Sarter.
Here. Any additions or deletions from the agenda tonight? Staff?
None from staff.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd. Okay, public forum is next. Just a reminder, this is non-agenda item public forum. So if anybody is here to speak on anything other than the Connell plant, this is the time to come up and take the podium. Anyone here for anything else? There may or may not be public comments regarding Connell tonight. That will come later in the agenda. So there's a line item on our agenda tonight for non-agenda items for public comment. This is if somebody wants to come up and speak about something not regarding the Connell plant, this is the appropriate time to do so. Okay. I'm surprised there's one.
I just wanted to call out on the planning board commission.
Name, address.
Yes.
You're absolutely correct. Sorry. Thank you for your time. My name is Ben Leistico. I'm at 8605 Citation Court in Wellington here. And I wanted to thank you all for having an online submission form and making that available so that we can submit to the board on there. There are some concerns that it's not functioning correctly, so that we are not getting all of the submissions that we want to into that. So I do want to call that out as a concern. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Perfect. That's exactly what this time is for. Okay, I will have staff look into that. Thank you, Ben. Okay, next item is a consideration of minutes from April. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the April meeting?
I move we approve the minutes from the April meeting.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Scholey,
Yes.
Whitehouse,
Yes.
McCaffrey,
Yes.
Carmen,
Yes.
Sarter.
Yes. Okay, next order. We are going to continue from the March meeting, the site plan review for Connell Resources. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Byrd real quick. I think he's got an announcement on the subject.
Sure. Thanks, Commissioner Sarter. The announcement we were going to make is everyone knows this was originally presented at the March 6th Planning Commission meeting. At that time, there were a wide variety of topics and questions that were raised that needed some additional information. And staff was moving forward to have that ready for tonight, to which it was tabled to. And we received a request from the applicant to continue the meeting, this agenda item, to a later date. The consultants that they're using for doing the air dispersion modeling and the noise and contour analysis, the information that was requested was not available at the time of the agenda. And so there was no time for staff review, and we don't have that information available to present tonight that would help answer some of the questions that were being raised. So the applicant has requested to continue this to allow that time to receive that information, submit to staff for review, county health department for review, and to prepare that for a later date. The applicant has requested the June 5th regular planning commission date for that continuance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Byrd. Commissioners, any discussion on this? Does anybody have any issues with continuing this to get the information that, frankly, the only reason it was continued to this meeting was to allow the applicant and allow staff to have more time to compile data, submit information, to answer questions that came up from the original meeting. We're clearly without that tonight. The applicants requested 30 more days to try to get some questions answered that ourselves, as well as everybody here and everybody that showed up to the last meeting, we had relevant questions, relevant concerns. And unfortunately, as of tonight, we don't have answers to some of those questions. So I'll open this up, I guess, to the panel. You guys, anything to add to that? Any further discussion on it? No, you guys.
I would just say all of the things that you said. In addition, obviously, we're missing 2 commissioners this evening. And with a decision this important, I think it's important that we have all the information and all of us have all the information so that we're making the best decision moving forward.
I have a question. Is there a feeling that another 30 days is enough time?
I raised that question myself. Staff has assured that the 30 days will be an appropriate window to answer, to have the information compiled and be able to present it to the June meeting. Yes.
And unless information changes, what we've heard from the applicant is that we're expecting to get those reports finalized into staff in the next couple of weeks, and it would give us time to review that information and print it in the packet. So current timelines, we understand, that would be sufficient time.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd. I guess along those lines, I also just want to make it clear that everybody that did successfully get an online submission form in, those have been received. They've made the packet tonight. We've got 2 rounds, 100+ pages, I believe, of public comments that have come in on this subject. So thank you, everybody, for submitting those. Those are not just disappearing into the ether. If you read the packet tonight and flip through that, they are all there. They are all printed. They're now public record. They're public information. And we have had ample time to review those as well. So thank you, everybody present tonight or not, whoever's watching. We do appreciate those. They are important. They do weigh in on the discussion that we hope to have in June on this topic. But as of tonight, again, there's not much to discuss new over what we heard in the March meeting. So that said, typically the format for this is staff presentation, applicant presentation, public comment. If there's anybody here that really just feels like they need to get up and speak their piece on this, we will do an abbreviated session tonight. We're going to do 1 minute for public comment, because honestly, we just don't feel this is the appropriate time. We would rather hear your public comments in conjunction with the presentations from staff and from Connell next time around. But that said, if anybody does want to come up and take the podium, feel free. This is the time. Please try to keep it to 1 minute.
Point of information, by my count, we have about 180 pages of public comment and some other documents here. And the last meeting, I think we received something like 91 pages of public comment. So we do have them. We do read them. So
And we do print them. So I guess before you start, give me 1 more second. I apologize. Like I said, they have been heard. We've heard the concerns about everything, the pollution, the traffic, the dust, the noise, the hazards, the toxins. Those are all well documented now in everyone's public comment. So if it's something new, we'd love to hear it tonight. If it's a repeat of the same, just please be assured that we have heard them.
Chair Sarter, I have been notified by a couple people in the audience that they received confirmation that their email had been submitted and received by the town of Wellington, and it was not included in the packet tonight. So I've taken a couple screenshots and forwarded some of those emails to myself. We will get in on the back end of the website either tonight or tomorrow, figure out what the hiccup was so that we can make sure we get everyone's information in the next packet. So I apologize on behalf of the town that there was some emails that did not make it through, but we are now aware of it, and I will see what I can do to get that rectified in time for the next meeting.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Patty. Appreciate it. Okay, so all that said, if anyone still feels the need to comment tonight, let's keep it brief. Believe me, we've heard most of the major concerns. So if there's anything else, we'll go ahead and do a short round of public comments. When you please come up to them. I'm not going to allow comments from the public unless you're up at the microphone.
Chairman, I did place a sign-in sheet on the podium for anyone that to please put their name and contact
Okay,
information down.
so that'll be required for this. Just go ahead and sign in and then state your name quick before we do the comments.
Might be easier if it's on the table so they can sign in after they speak. Or before they speak.
I'll let him finish up.
Hello, my name is Matt Gopal. I'm at 9015 Raging Bull Lane, Buffalo Creek. I thought I'd have a different perspective. I'm sure you've gotten a ton of scientific data. I believe it was Ms. Knack that mentioned during the March 6th meeting what this body's charter is or mission statement as far as public interest. And I'd ask that someone here tonight may repeat what that mission statement is to amongst your constituents, because it's quite good and worth repeating. I will say there's nothing, I highly doubt there's anything in that charter or mission statement that states some big company with deep pockets can come into our small town and bulldoze local government and its residents into accepting some right to use or outdated zoning code for a development that's completely against our best interests. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Hi, my name is Nancy McKay. I'm at 3808 Roosevelt Avenue here in Wellington. I have 3 minutes of comments I prepared today. That takes time out of my day. I know so many people in this audience have done the same thing. I thought it was cavalier just to say, hey, that's not going to happen tonight. You've got 1 minute. And one thing, why do we keep bending over backwards? We have variations, we have zoning changes, we have changed the setbacks on this thing 3 or 4 times for this company. I do not believe that this company is working with consultants right now. They know everyone's going to be on vacation on June 5th. They know it's going to be harder to get people to these meetings. They're playing you guys, and you're bending over backwards to serve this company. What consultant are they using to answer questions about the company that they operate? If I have a business, I can get those answers pretty quick. They are taking months to answer things about toxic chemicals and things. They're what we don't know. We have to get somebody to find these answers for us. And now it's going to take even more time. I don't believe for a minute that they're using, well, I'm sure they have consultants and their names are thrown out to you guys, but I do not believe that they need more time to find out what their business is about and what they're putting into there. They answer those questions every time they fill out an environmental form. And John Warren himself said he fills out at least 4 constantly going every year. That's my comment. I guess this is wasted. I'll trash it. And I don't care if you guys are stacking up our comments and, oh, we've got them right here. Everyone's here to tell you what they think tonight. Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy.
Hi, my name is Ben Trabing. I live at 3147 Alley Bar Drive. I would first like to mention that I have a master's in atmospheric science from Colorado State University and a PhD in atmospheric science from Colorado State University, and a dispersion model could easily be run in a month. First, like that to be known. And also, what kind of subject matter experts do you guys actually have to both use these dispersion models, understand the results, and be able to make the decisions on this? Because I'm not sure anybody here is actually qualified to do that. Sorry, no offense meant, but. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Diane McQuaid and I live at 5855 East County Road 66 in Wellington, just out on that side. I have a question. You're getting in this report that's going to talk about the air dispersion from this plant. Is that going to be available so the rest of us can see that before this next meeting? Or do we have to just take it on the words of the staff? And I'm with the last speaker also because I happen to have a master's in ecology and have done a lot of environmental work over the last 50 years. And I would be interested in seeing that document ahead of the meeting.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wellington Planning Board, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Josh Curson. I reside on Garfield Ave here, and I'd like to say that our community is really concerned with the building and the operation of a hot mix asphalt plant and the diesel exhaust fumes. 70-foot smokestacks from heavy industrials, in my opinion, do not belong next to a growing, thriving neighborhood. We have to think about it. Most of our weather comes from the west, from the northwest. These particulates are going to float into town. And there are many studies that show that fugitive emissions are released as hot asphalt is being mixed. This is an asphalt mixing plant, moved and landed into hot trucks. The small asphalt plant mixing 100,000 tons a year may produce 50 tons of toxic fusic emissions into our air. These include formaldehyde, hexene, phenol, polyclitic organic matter, toluene. Exposure to these chemicals cause cancer, central nervous central problems, liver damage, respiratory problems, and skin irritations. That's from the EPA. This is not just opinion.
Time.
And I thank you for the opportunity to try to help you understand that we are really concerned with our welfare, and we call upon you to please protect our community.
Thank you, Josh.
My name is Erin Rambler. I live, and I just moved. I live in River Birch.
It's okay. Don't worry.
Okay.
You got your name right. It's all good.
Okay, so I had this whole thing prepared, but I will make a shorter version. Basically, my understanding is that you're trying to get more information from this report. The guy already admits on TV, and this report, in even getting this report, he admits toxic chemicals are emitted. As soon as that is known, period, then this 2,640 feet minimum setback applies. The setback applies. Thank you. The minute that toxic chemicals are admitted, they've already admitted that. He said they're so bad, they have four different federal agencies that regulate them. So to me, your decision is already made tonight. There's toxic chemicals in the air. They don't reach the setback. So this additional information, I don't really see why that's necessary. So I'm just curious if you could maybe elaborate on why you want to know how many toxic chemicals, when toxic chemicals period solves the problem. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I brought my family. We live at 6915 Grassy Range Drive. My name's Sarah, this is Tyler, and this is Cooper. And I'm a teacher and a parent in this town. And as a teacher and a mom, my job is to protect my kids and my students. Your job is to protect our community. You need to make the right decision, and the right decision is to follow the land use code. As stated in Senator Marchman's letter to the Planning Commission, the Board of Trustees, this will have negative health effects upon all of us and the future of our community. It also will cause all of our homes to drop considerably in price. You need to consider each individual citizen, not big business. I demand that the board does their job. You need to decline the application for Connell Resources based solely on the land use code. By declining the application, your decision will positively impact all of our families, us as residents, our community will thrive. But without your decision to decline, our community is doomed. Stop making Wellington, Fort Collins dumping ground. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Fred Condis. I live at 8994 Raging Bull Lane. And I know you said earlier that you know everything you know everything you need to know about the chemicals and the claims made. And if you don't, I just want to read this to you. On June 25th, 2021, Connell Resource Industries conducted compliance testing on the facility's hot mix asphalt equipment compliance test. It was, and I'll skip down because I've only got a minute. Pursuant to permit 00LRO746, condition 7, emission of air pollutants from a facility hot mix asphalt equipment plant must not exceed 8.5 tons per year of NOx nitrogen oxides and 19.9 tons per year of carbon monoxide. Pursuant to this permit, condition 19, A source initial compliance test must be conducted on the main stack. To measure a source initial compliance test must be conducted on the main stack. Do you have this document? Okay, but I'll read it for the people that don't. The compliance test must be conducted in accordance with the division's compliance test manual. The compliance test conducted on June 25th, 2021 was stopped by Connell Resources Industries before completion
Time.
due to failing
Let 'em
test
finish.
results. They were held in non-compliance for 4 months, and they didn't pay their fine for an entire year after that. So there's,
Thank you.
My name's Dan Matlock. I live at 3371 White Buffalo Drive here in Wellington, Buffalo Creek. I have a good friend of mine that I have, because he seems to be more of a knowledgeable person than I am. Thank goodness we got the PhD here. This gentleman sat behind the wheel of one of those trucks for 20 years. And the things that he told me are unbelievable about what's going to happen to this community if we allow this to happen. It's not just about the noise and it's semantics about the chemicals we're going to be dealing with. I think what we really need to look at here is what happens if. What happens if you make this decision? What happens to us if we get this ramrodded down our throats? You live in this community also. You may have children, husbands, wives. So we're all concerned with the fact that we don't need this shoved down our throats here. I've been here for 10 years. I've seen so many things that have gone wrong that need to be taken care of, but this right here, I think, is a death sentence to our community. Thank you.
Certainly don't want to cut anybody off that still wishes to speak, but like I said, I appreciate y'all coming up. These are still a lot of the same comments. I guess I can't reiterate enough that we've seen and heard these all, and we are listening. I promise we are. That's why we're doing this tonight. No decision on this has been made yet, so I'm not quite sure how the criticism that we're not listening to things can be valid. Nobody's voted on this yet. There's no vote.
Chairman, can I say something?
Yes.
I just want to make a clarification, and my intention is not to sound defensive, but I think it's important that you all know our role versus some of the things that you're talking about. The decision to change the setbacks was not this board. That's the Board of Adjustments. That's different people sitting up here, not us. They made that decision and then this landed with us. And now we are required to make a decision based on all of the information that we're given, most importantly from all of you. Land use code guides what we can and cannot do. The decision by the Board of Adjustments tells us what we have to do. We can't, we have boundaries we have to follow by law. And as the gentleman pointed out about a lot of things going wrong over the last 10 years, some of the problems that we have had in this town previously were from people not having all the information. So when we say we're listening and we're reading, we really, really are. But we have to follow all the steps before we can render a decision. And we are not supposed to respond when you guys are up here talking. So it's not that we're not listening. It's not that we don't want to answer your questions. We're just following the rules that have been given to us. But I promise you, at least for myself and for everyone that's sitting here, because I know them all, we are wholeheartedly listening to everything you say, all the emails. And yes, we all live here and we are up here voluntarily because we love this town. We're not getting paid. Connell is not giving us money. None of us have any financial gain. We just care about all of you and this town. So I hope that you know that. I think that's very, very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shelley. Okay. That being said, we do eventually, we have to we have to move and vote on the continuance tonight at some point. So does anybody else have anything else we need to talk about?
You have one more comment, Jeff.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Ben.
My name is Ben Lysico, 8605 Citation Court still.
Haven't moved.
I've not moved, yeah. What I wanted to do is I know that we pushed this, right? But there were some deliverables for the staff from that last meeting. And my questions for them are have we been able to reach out and talk to some other resources at the county, at the state about some of the toxic chemicals? Like, have we got a ruling? Are there toxic chemicals? We need to send this back to the adjustment board? Like, are we making traction out there, or can we help with any resources that Wellington has? Because there's a wealth of people that know a bunch about this stuff, it feels like. So that's mine. I know it's a question, but yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a good question. Absolutely. I wish we could answer it. Okay, guys, again, I know this is the hard part, but we do have to move and vote on this tonight, so. From the podium, please,
He's by the back or by
Okay.
the doors.
come on in.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having this meeting here in town. Oh, I've lived here about 3 years now. I have a background in aggregates, with doing truck driving and the chemicals they use. I also come from Wisconsin, where we do a lot of mining in our sand pits there. And it does irreparable damage, not only to the environment, to the children, and to the water system here, which we don't have much of a water system out here as it is. So we really don't need to contaminate that. Another question I have is, what is our fire department gonna do if there is an incident of a chemical accident out there? Is our fire department equipped to handle that? Most likely in this small town, probably not. We're gonna need resources from Cooter Fire Department and from Fort Collins. That's a big thing to consider. On top of that, all these semis that run here pretty soon, in a couple of years, they want to turn to electric. Now they're getting more different chemicals you're putting in different things. Is it gonna be okay by these different plants? You have different heat levels, it affects the engines and the electronics differently. On top of the semis we already do use, we use other chemicals in there that are not good for us to breathe in normally. Now we're gonna top that on top of this plant. As ask you guys to think that, for long term of this town, and what have they done already to Timoneth, is it what we really want here? Why aren't they just doing this? I mean, I understand the plant Timoneth is no longer capable of getting the materials out of the ground. But there's no reason why they can't still produce this material there in Timoneth. So why bring it to here? And I know Carr has also had willing to take the plant. Why don't we let Carr have it? They could use some businesses and employment up there. So that's all I got to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Chairman Sarter, he didn't state his name and address. Can we ask him to do so, please?
Would you mind coming back in here and at least state your name for the record, if you would, sir? It's a problem when they're standing room only, huh?
And yeah,
Just your name for the record, please.
Jason Jansen.
Okay, what neighborhood do you live in?
I live in the Sage Meadows, Grassy Range Drive.
Good enough.
I also own Jansen Transportation LLC.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jason. could
Thanks,
you
Patty.
please- Could you please sign in on the sign-in sheet? Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, one more time. We need a motion to table the site plan review for Connell tonight. Do I have a motion to table?
I move to table the site plan review for Connell Resources to the regular meeting of the Planning Commission to be held June 5th, 2023 at 6:30 PM at the Wilson Leaper Center, right here where we're at.
Second. Roll call.
Commissioner Sholay,
Yes.
Whitehouse,
Yes.
McCaffrey,
Yes.
Carmen,
Yes.
Sarter,
Yes. Motion passes. Okay, there's no new business. Mr. Byrd, do we have any communications from staff for tonight?
The communication I would share, since this item was just tabled to June 5th, there are 3 other applications that submitted for review at the June 5th meeting. I would expect that to be a pretty lengthy agenda. So what I would like to request is, we typically do old business first, followed by public hearing items, followed by non-public hearing items. If there is not time in a reasonable time frame that evening to complete all of the agenda items, is there another available date that the planning commission would be interested in holding a special meeting to continue or to hear the rest of that business? Otherwise, it would typically go to the next available meeting, which would be July 11th, I believe, is the next date. So I guess the question is there another evening and time that the planning commissioners could be available for a special meeting if that is desired?
Could we do the
Everyone-
12th? Following week?
Following week.
The following Monday?
Want to hold somebody up.
I want to hold any applicants up that have gone through the process and are just gonna get potentially booted because of time constraints.
I would just like to say for this particular agenda item, I would like to see that maybe on its own meeting. Just because we don't want to shortchange the other applicants, nor do we want to rush any public comment or our deliberations and discussion on this item.
I think that's something we can have staff maybe take a look at. If we're gonna have a special meeting, maybe all three. If the applicants are willing to just wait a week. And we clear the 5th for Connell specifically.
We.
I
yes,
was
like-
thinking I thought you meant the other way.
My understanding was you just had a motion and vote to table the Connell
We did.
Resources application to
Correct.
June 5th.
That is now the 5th.
I can reach out to the other applicants to see if a week delay would impair their projects. Certainly understand the desire to kind of create enough space for each application to be heard. We will have to take a look at the public hearing dates to make sure we don't have any conflicts with holidays and things for the notices. If they're able to do that later meeting, so we will check and see what we can find out.
12th.
Flip flop it.
We can't.
We can't
We just-
do a different motion
We
for
just
that.
move this to the 5th. This needs to be the 5th.
Okay.
But I am open to a special meeting on the 12th. Everybody else in agreement to that?
Yes.
Okay, I think so, Cody. Let's see if we can
Okay.
make that happen.
We've always been open to that, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll inquire with the other applicants and see if that flexibility will work and see if we can't schedule accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bird. Any other communications on staff's end?
I don't have any other communications.
No. Okay, anything from the board?
I have point of information. Is there some letter that was received from one of our representatives on this subject and that we're not aware of?
I spoke with Cody before the meeting started because Senator Janice Marchman reached out to me both by letter and by phone call, although I didn't take the call because I wasn't sure about the rules. And Cody said, just given what was going on and because this isn't technically a public hearing, I was good. And that letter is going to be shared with the whole planning commission anyway. So.
Yep, just to reiterate what Commissioner Cholet said, we did receive a copy of that late this afternoon. And we have it, we'll include it in the record for the June 5th meeting.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
Board, anything else? Okay, adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.